What's up, VapeMentors? It's Jesse. I'm just going to introduce this video interview with Stewart from Georgetown, Massachusetts. He's a vape shop owner over there that has only been in the game for about a year. He opened his shop January of 2017, actually January of 2018, and he's already been proven to be taking some very serious steps into making his business successful, and it's a very inspiring story. But the reason he's on the podcast today is because of what he did in his local community to help with the youth smoking or youth vaping issues that we are seeing. And you know, I don't call it an epidemic because that's an overstatement, but it is an issue that I believe, and VapeMentors believes, that vape shops should take ownership in helping to solve, because it's adult vaping is youth vaping is the biggest risk to adult vaping, and I think that that's a true statement. So I want this interview to be serving to you as an excellent example of how to engage your local community, how to interact with your city council, with your school board members, with your local principals, to not only suggest solutions but offer yourself up in support of the cause of reducing youth vaping. And you'll see that Stewart has an extensive background in working with cities, because he used to be on that side of working with cities. He was a city council member in his local community called a Selectmen, where he's from. And he knew the importance of working with the local governments, and he took that to heart, and he proactively came up with solutions for them, invited them into their shop, talked and had a dialogue with the principal of his local school, and instead of being the outcast in the local community, instead of being the target of attacks, he was in control of the conversation from the beginning, and even was painted in a very, very positive light on the local news channel, which is rare to see. And what we can learn is that if you are going to the city council meetings to protest a flavor ban, and that's the first time you've talked to your city council, then that's way too late. You're doing it wrong. You need to be, they've already had the conversations, because you only get 3 minutes in those situations. So take a look at this interview. It's a very, very insightful interview. Stewart's a great guy. He's a great shop owner. He's a great example. And I'll post the commercial, or the news segment that he was featured in at the end of the interview. So stick around to watch that at the very end, so you can kind of understand. I might even put it at the beginning, so you can understand what's going on. So that said, we have a couple things coming up. We have the Vape Shop Marketing Accelerator for Quit Smoking Resolutions. January 1st is a huge, huge day for vape shops to convert those smokers. So make sure you watch our webinar that's on the Facebook page regarding how to take advantage of New Year's resolutions and quit smoking. And stay tuned for big, big things in 2019. So hope you enjoy this interview. This video is made possible by IntelliCheck, the only ID scanner trusted by law enforcement to calculate age and detect fake IDs, available on iPhone and Android. 4 out of 100 IDs scanned in vape shops are fakes, and most age scanner apps only calculate age, meaning you could be unknowingly selling to minors. Go to VapeMentors.com/ID or click the link in the description to get a special deal on IntelliCheck and start detecting fake IDs right now.
As federal health agencies work to crack down on vaping in kids by targeting the makers of popular products, local communities are now ramping up their efforts to prevent kids from doing it in secret. NBC 10's Eli Rosenberg live in Georgetown tonight to explain. Eli.
Well, the school officials say the goal here is not to bust students, but rather to educate them. To that end, they went in and put in what amounts to a vape detector in 10 bathrooms in the high school.
It's all different juices, all different flavors, fruits, desserts, coffees.
At Savage Vapes in Georgetown, they love the business, but they won't sell to just anyone.
More stringent controls than probably anybody on the North Shore.
That's what happens when you own a vape business down the street from a high school with a student vaping problem. The school and the shop meeting a few months ago, deciding to work together to ensure students weren't turning into customers, even if it did mean losing some business.
We were aware of vaping. How fast it took off, it really took us all by surprise, and we found it on our doorstep.
On their doorstep and in their school bathrooms, as vaping and e-cigarettes have exploded in popularity in recent years. The district, with the help from the community health group Georgetown Cares, buying 10 fly sense detection devices, installing them in bathrooms in the high school. They look like smoke detectors, sending a text to school officials when it detects the chemicals in vaping.
This was a safety measure. This was not about we don't trust you.
It's only been a few months, but reports are good, as Georgetown becomes one of the first school systems looking to extinguish a new threat to student health.
Have we eliminated the problem completely? Probably not. We're not going to enter into that naive state of mind, but yes, we can say there is a large decrease.
Now get these detectors actually send alerts for spikes in noises in bathrooms for things like bullying and fighting. And the school here says it's already hearing from plenty of other schools interested in how the program is going. I'm in Georgetown, Eli Rosenberg, NBC 10 Boston.
All right, well, I'm here with Stewart, and Stewart is a vape shop owner in Georgetown, Massachusetts, a deeply blue state, although he is admittedly a Republican, which we had a big conversation about just now. I invited him on tonight just to talk about an amazing story that he's been a part of in Massachusetts locally that we want to talk about. But first, what I noticed in that video is that you were wearing a Snowbird hat, which is my mountain down in Utah. So there it is right there. That's my place. So that's where I'm from. I grew up about 30 minutes from that place. So you're a snowboarder, man. You had 3 ACL tears. Tell me about that real quick.
So my buddy and I in 1999 went without wife, family, kids, whatever, on ski tours for like a week. And his wife had an airline, she worked for the airline, so we got like standby and stuff. So we called it the Dirtbag Tour. So we would go on the Dirtbag Tour every year. We'd do like a week, and we'd just go to like the cheapest hotel, 7-Eleven, 7-Eleven. I'm sorry, Motel 6, whatever. Mm-hmm. And we'd do the Dirtbag Tour. And so, 3 ACL, not tears, complete replacements later from being a skier on my left knee. I ended up getting into snowboarding, and I love snowboarding way better than skiing, especially on a powder day, because you're just floating, man. I mean, you are, and I'm in Boston area, so it's like surfing, and it is the best. And Salt Lake for us, from Boston to Salt Lake's a direct route. So then we stay on the bench, and we're like 30 minutes or less to every major ski area in Salt Lake, with the best coverage ever. Right now here in New England, it's December 8th. We got over 6 feet of snow up in Vermont and New Hampshire, which is fantastic. And I haven't been able to sample it yet, but whatever, I'll be there. You're right about snowboarding. It's the best to be on a snowboard on a nice powder day, and there's no other place better than Snowbird. One of the interesting things that happened recently was, so you started your vape shop almost exactly a year ago, and you've been a great member of VapeMentors. So thanks for being part of the group, by the way. Recently, so you actually started out with a pool shop, and then you converted that to a little small vape shop. But you're actually really close to a high school, which, as you might imagine, has been cause for some interesting conversations you might have had. So tell me real quick about your history with that vape shop and that pool shop, and then what happened recently was you were working with the local school that you're right next to help them with the youth vaping. I'm not going to say epidemic, but you know what I mean. So how did that all happen? And how did you start working with that school? Yeah, so I bought the place in January of 2018. It's been around since 2001. Pool store. My son has been into vaping for a while. He and I were going to open a vape store. My landlord that I had a small office in didn't want to do it. And I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden this pool store came up for sale. And long story short, I bought the place, bought the business, and decided to have a conversation with my son. He didn't want to go to college. So I'm like, hey, look, you don't want to go to college. I'm going to buy this place. Let's put a vape store in there. Let's do all that. He was on board, and here we are today. So long story short, it was 18 in Georgetown, and an unbelievable shit show hit Facebook. Like, seriously, like the day I opened, when I closed on the business on January 12th, I put a handwritten sign out there that said Savage Vapes open, because we had all our stuff in order, ready to go. Boom. Saturday morning at like 8:15, this thing hits. By the end of Sunday, there was over 500, comments, and it was just a complete shit show. Selectmen were chiming in, going, yeah, we're going to change the age to 21. We're going to shut the vape store down, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, I was not only a selectman in town for 4.5 years, I was on the cable committee for 5 years, brought Comcast or Verizon in to, compete with Comcast for the community. And I was a volunteer fire department guy for like 6 years. And I'm like, really? All this crap's going on? So I let that roll. And then I finally put out a response, and it was half and half, like positive and negative. Mm-hmm. And then when they wanted to go to this from 18 to 21, the chairman of the Board of Selectmen denied me formally appearing before him on his board 3 times. 3 times. 3 times. And it was crazy. So what happened, long story short, they ended up on May 1st going to 21 on in the town. So mm-hmm. All they did was kill my lower end business, which was 18 to whatever, for the jewels or whatever it was going to be, down to going to the next town over. But they were all feel good legislation and typical how liberals operate. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, we shut them down. That's great. Their kids are still vaping. They still have a vaping problem in town, in the schools, and the only thing is, the kids aren't buying them from me anymore. Not the kids, but the 18-year-olds plus aren't buying them from me. They're just going to the next town over, mm-hmm. So what happened was our town found out about fly scents. And if anybody is working with their communities and their schools, turn your school on to fly scents. Fly scents is a vape detector that you put in wherever you want to put it. They put them in the bathrooms. It does 2 things. It senses the chemicals if somebody's exhaling a vape from the vape. Number 2, it senses sound levels. So if there's bullying going on in the bathroom, they get a text alert to whoever's on that. So whatever, they put that in. So long story short, the Boston Globe on yesterday, produced a story about that. And then next thing I know, I've got Channel 10, NECN, and Channel 4 knocking on my door, coming in, saying, hey, we were just over at the school, blah, 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 the fly sense thing. We want to talk to you about all that. So I've been working with my the administration over there for a long time, because I literally, as a selectman, signed off on $47 million worth of a brand new school for them as a selectman, chairman of the Board of Selectmen. But the school had hired a new principal this year. So he came over in August. We had a nice conversation, and I'm like, anything you want, I'll speak, I'll talk, I'll be involved, whatever you need to do, I will be over there, whatever you need. And the town has this thing called Georgetown Cares Coalition, which is funded by the weed grow and the weed operation that we have in town, that donated the FlySense equipment to the school. And I know the person that's the chair of that. And I said, anytime you need me to be involved in your organization, come talk, be a member, whatever you want to do, happy to do, because it's all about education and it's all about doing the right thing. You know what I mean? And so when I opened the vape store, I was like, we're going to have the most stringent, absolutely the most stringent ever, restrictions on anything going on to avoid, at that point when I opened, under 18. Now it's 21, under 21, from coming in and buying anything. So we have a store full of cameras, a parking lot full of cameras. We have two scanners, ID scanners. I use the free one, which is wecard.org, which is the WeCard stuff. That's a free app. And then I have a paid one, which is Bar Stats, which works well. And what you're going to see in this video that Jesse's just teed up is going to be, there ain't anybody under 21 buying anything, even though I'm 1,000 yards across the street from, the school, buying vapes from Savage Vapes, because when I set it up, having been in my background, living in that town, there ain't nobody gonna be doing anything other than above the law, all the way to the T. No way.
And that's why I wanted to bring you on, Stewart, because, what was really awesome is you took a proactive approach to making sure that you weren't seen as the enemy in your own town, which is absolutely contradictory to what we always hear about vape shops and tobacco retailers as these, evil businesses that are trying to addict children. You actually went and talked to the new principal. Did you suggest this device to them? Did you know about this?
I did not know about it. The new principal had come in August, because I have a pool store, and in it is literally less than 10% of my business is vapes. And it's literally 12 by 19 feet is my vape store. He had come in and said, because Carol Jacobs, who's our superintendent, had said, you got to go over and talk to Stu if we're dealing with the vape thing. And she gave him the background. Hey, he's a former Selectmen, whatever, all that jazz. So he came over, he knocked on my door, he walked in, and I was behind the counter of the pool store, and fortunately there were no customers there at the time. He and I had a 30-minute conversation, and I said, anything and everything you need, I'm on board. I will go over there and speak about nicotine, vapes, smoking, whatever, my history of getting involved in smoking when I was 12 years old, whatever, anything you need, I'm here. And I reinforced to him, I outlined everything I had said, everything that we had done for the stopgaps, so that there was nobody underage buying anything from our store. And he was thrilled to death and pleased. And he was happy as a clam. And he's just like, hey, this is fantastic. I'm glad we can have a civil conversation and that you're actually on board. And I'm like, you tell me whatever you need, I'll be there. And they have not come back to me to ask me to speak or do anything.
But you're willing to do that, and what a refreshing change of pace for what we usually get in the media too. I think that story that they did was pretty well balanced. And how did you feel about the reporters that you worked with at the news station?
I being a skeptic, I've been in media before I was in the pool business and the vape business. I've sold media, radio, out of home, all that. And I went to Emerson College, so I'm a media expert. I am a political junkie. I have no trust in media. I have honestly, I wouldn't say no respect, but I have no trust in media. I didn't know where they were going to go. And I was very, very pleased with how they put those stories together, because one of the guys from Channel 10 and VapeMentors.org/NECN. They were outside my store for like 6 hours because they were waiting for a live hit. After they came in at 2 o'clock, they came in 4 hours. They came in at 2, and then they were hanging out waiting to do the live hit at 5 and 6. So I went over and talked to him. I go, how's the package put together? Because they have a van. They build the whole package right on site in their van. And he goes, yeah, we're doing the teas and whatever. We did the minimal thing at 5, but he goes, full package on 6. He goes, we portrayed you as a willing participant and a responsible business owner. And I'm like, that's great. That's fantastic. Because they could have gone any other way, but not anything I said would they ever going to be able to spin negatively, you know?
Yeah, and like I'll show the clip of the news segment right after this video for anybody that sticks around, and you're going to see, that they did a good job, I think, of definitely portraying you as a fair and balanced business owner that is really just trying to do an adult-only business. And obviously, you're working very well with the superintendent and with the principal at the school. Do you think the principal, knowing you, did he tip off the news station, say, hey, this guy's a good guy?
Yeah, he probably did. And I think Carol did, who's a super, because I've worked with her. I mean, I literally built the woman a $47 million brand new school, as chairman of the board of selectmen. I signed off on every bond. So yeah, and plus if they were even observing, driving to the school, they would have seen my business, and it has Savage Vapes all over it and all that stuff. You know what I mean? So they would have seen it. But I think they tipped them off for sure. And at the end of the day, the deal is it's about education. It's about doing the right thing. It's about doing everything above board and doing it legally and having all your ducks in order. Do I have all my ducks in order? I don't know. I mean, who knows? If an FDA came in, I don't know what they would look for. I have no idea. But I know that from a age perspective, there is nobody walking into my vape store. There is nobody. We card everybody that looks under 40. And we have two card systems, the WeCard.org system, and we have the bar stats. And there is nobody getting through in my store buying underage in my store. Now, all the stuff that you've seen about all the FDA stings and all that, 99.9% of them are gas stations, convenience stores. And that's why the FDA is saying, hey, you know what, we're gonna let the vape stores probably do what they do because they have stringent controls. Anybody out there that does not have a card scanner, does not have a second card scanner behind it, is doing themselves a disservice. You guys, we gotta be on our game. We gotta be so vigilant, and we have to be so stringent on what our requirements are. I literally have 4 cameras inside. I have 2 in the vape store. I have 4 in the parking lot. And then on top of that, I got 2 scanners for age verification. And then I have all the signage from WeCard.org,
And that's exactly what you should have. And you're only required to card people that look under 27, but you're doing it under 40. I mean, what do you have? Just real quick, what's a selectman? Because is that just basically a city council member?
Yeah. So Massachusetts is the oldest form of government in America. So selectmen by town. If you're under 10,000, then you have selectmen. If you have over 10,000 to a certain level, it's city council, and then from whatever, over 10,000 city council. So yeah, but selectmen are volunteers, unpaid, and they have to run, and they're elected.
So you've actually been on both sides of the whole of this issue, of just the relationship between city and business, and you already understood how important that is, because I think a lot of vape shop owners, unfortunately, are so dejected and so upset with city council and with local state governments that they are seen as the enemy. And, you know, in some ways they are, but that doesn't mean that you should not have a good relationship with your selectmen or with your city council. So, I mean, talk about how important that is real quick.
It is absolutely, like, if you do anything, hold on one sec. I'm just shutting the door because the door kicked open and it's like 10 degrees out here in New England. If you have one relationship as a vape store owner, you need to have the best relationship you can absolutely positively have with your local governance, whatever that is. It could be, it's going to be a combination of a few things. It's going to be Board of Health and Board of Selectmen and whatever the other licensing issues may be. However, in my town, when I was going to open, I reached out, knowing, because I was on the Board of Selectmen, I reached out to my Board of Health and I said, hey, what's up with any licensing for vape stores? Nothing, no, nothing, don't need it, blah, blah, blah. Didn't need a license. Didn't need a license in my town to open a vape store. If you were carrying cigarettes, cigars, you had to have a license, tobacco license. And it was interesting because as soon as I opened the store, all shithole, I mean, it just went to shit. All hell broke loose on Facebook. And like I said earlier, I mean, it was crazy. So then they ended up basically forcing the Board of Health to raise the tobacco age in town to 18, from 18 to 21. And then I had to pay a $60, annual fee for a tobacco license. But if you're a vape store owner, you have to be on speed dial, literally on speed dial and first name basis with your Board of Health, with your selectmen or your town council or whoever it is that's your authority in town, because the stuff that goes on in, like, just based on what happened, like I said, a Saturday morning, a photo got taken of my handwritten Savage Vape signs. By 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, 500 comments, Board of Selectmen chiming in, blah, 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 blah. I mean, I almost sued the Board of Selectmen over what they did on Facebook and everything and social media. And I'm like, it's not worth my time. I want to have a relationship with them, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, it is critical that you have a very solid relationship, because the amount of misinformation that was going on between that 8 o'clock post on Saturday morning and 4 o'clock, 500 comments on social media, on Facebook, on a town, not a town account, but whatever, who had created it, was 90% of it was misinformation. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, it literally started within 10 comments. All of a sudden, it's into a weed thing. Oh, we're not going to have a bong store. Blah, blah. Vapes, selling vape store, kids. Blah, blah, blah. The sad part about it, having been on the Board of Selectmen in my town for 4.5 years, the chairman and another Board of Selectmen, they were blowing me up on social media, on Facebook, saying we're going to turn it to 21, we're going to shut this guy down, blah, 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 blah. They violated every one of their protocols that they had already implemented a year before for themselves as a Board of Selectmen. Not only on top of that, they denied me 3 times to come before the board when they were discussing going from 18 to 21. Board of Selectmen in my town has no purview, no authority on going from 18 to 21. It is the Board of Health. Yet, I sat in front of that board, and made application to go actually talk to them about it and be on their official agenda was denied by the Board of Selectmen's chair 3 times. He canceled a 4th meeting, and you guys go look into Georgetown, Mass, and look at it, because I mean, he almost had a fist fight with a couple of the selectmen that wanted me to speak. I mean, it was crazy. It was insane. So it is absolutely, if you do not have a relationship with your Board of Health and with your town council, whatever, city council, you absolutely have to build that bridge. It is imperative. If you don't, you are leaving 180, you're leaving your 6 way exposed. Not good. Not good at all.
Yep, and it's as simple as just calling your mayor, calling your city council, calling the selectman office, wherever that person resides, and just asking for a meeting or a phone conversation or whatever it takes. I mean, I go to the city council meetings that happen in my area, in the Bay Area, with Stefan Didak when they happen, and it's shocking to me how many vape shop owners don't show up, and even more shocking how many vapors don't show up. These conversations are happening right now. When they announce the schedule and there's vaping, legislation, or they're talking about vaping, it's already too late. They've already had those conversations. So you need to be ahead of that. You need to have that relationship now so that they can come to you. And I'm sure now that you'd recommend, now with the attack on, vaping, with the epidemic, quote unquote, with teen vaping in high schools, now you probably recommend also having a relationship with your school board as well, wouldn't you?
Oh, no, absolutely. So a couple of takeaways for people is number one, definitely have a relationship, one-on-one personal meeting relationship with your Board of Health. Number two, whatever that licensing board is, in my town, it's the Selectmen, okay? It could be the city council, whatever. You've got to be out ahead of this. You cannot be, once it hits, it's too late. You've got to be doing it now. You have to be having conversations. The third part of it is there a school district developmental protocol or anything that you can get involved in, that you can have a serious voice and not only face, but a PR value like you're going to see after we get done with this conversation from the TV coverage that I had the other night, to have that conversation. Is there a 4th leg, which might be in our town, it was Georgetown Cares Coalition or whatever, and it was funded by the pot growing place, which is funny. They're all worried about vapes, but they're not talking about pot at all. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, really? We're the biggest pot dealers in Massachusetts, and you're worried about a vape store opening up? Okay, like, really? Like, the dichotomy on that totally lost me. But anyway, is there an advocacy group that's within the community that is talking about substance abuse, talking about teenage drug use, opioids, nicotine, alcohol, anything? You got to be literally on a 4 or 5 point communication call. You have to go to their meetings. You have to have a voice. You have to be on camera. Do not be shy to be on camera and say, look, if there's an epidemic, which you guys are all freaking out about on the FDA and the town and the school system, about teenage vaping or underage vaping, listen, you got to go up in front of every one of those boards and say, look, I have ID scanners. You can't be in my store unless you're 18 or 21 to even walk into my vape store. You have to understand that I have video surveillance. I've trained my employees to ID everybody and understand fake IDs. I have all of my state, federal postings, okay, you got to look at your state posting, because whatever your state, every state's different. Your state is going to say, when you go to the tobacco laws, that you have to post physically on the wall X, Y, and Z, and you got to print that off and post it. I have that on my wall. I have the federal posting, and then you got to go to wecard.org and make sure you've got everything, the calendar, the fake ID thing, everything. The whole piece about weid.org is fantastic. It's got the whatever, you know, the calendar. It says every day, it says if you're under this age, if you're born after this date, you can't do, you can't vape, whatever, buy liquor or whatever. And then all of the stickers that you need for, you know, whatever your WeID at 18, 21, whatever you, some towns are 19, whatever it happens to be.
Right.
So you really, really need a 5-point plan. If you do not have this 5-point plan, I'm telling you, it's going to come back and it's going to be ugly. And you've got to be all over it. And it is just CYA, my friends. CYA. Yep. Build bridges, don't burn bridges in your community. Because when you get to that point where you're a responsible vape store, that convenience store and that gas station and any other hack that's not doing what you're going to do and are doing is going to be out of business, and they're going to be regulated out of business. So be the guy that's way above the curve, way ahead of the curve, and is proactive and doing all the right things. Because one of the reporters from Channel 4 asked me, because the other one you got to look at, Jesse, is Channel 4, WBZ TV 4. They have a whole nother package that they put out that they interviewed me with that you're not going to post tonight yet. But she said, yeah, but you're a businessman, and I understand your background in the community and all that stuff, but you're a businessman. So what's the thing? And I go, I'm here to do everything above the board, and to do the right thing and do the right thing for the community. So I'm not here to do anything that's going to detriment the community or myself or be a problem. And she was like, wow, that's pretty amazing. And because I had that conversation with them, and the previous TV interviewer that was in there, reporter, I got probably 50 grand worth of free press last night on television all over New England. Channel 4, Channel 10, and NECN. It was shocking and amazing.
Yep, and that's because you made those proactive movements months ago to be, to be communicating with the superintendent and everyone else in the community, and that's what I think we should definitely end it with. Is just, like Stewart said, cover your ass, be proactive, build the bridges now. Here's what people don't realize. If you've ever been to a city council meeting where you're debating any of these topics, you only get 3 minutes a person.
Yeah.
You get 3 minutes to defend your entire livelihood.
And it's over at that point. When that debate happens, it's already over.
Right, because what's happened is the tobacco control advocates have already given the city council an hour-long presentation based on bullshit.
And that's why the presentation is coming up, or the whole topic is coming up.
Right,
yeah.
So people need to understand how the game is played and play it better and play it better than what they're doing. And you're not just a business owner. You are
way ahead of the curve. Be ahead of the curve.
Absolutely, be ahead of the curve. And so we'll maybe work on some resources for people to start understanding how that works. And Stewart, thanks so much for hopping on and doing this quick little interview. I was super impressed with your ability to engage with the local community. You got all that free press. You got the school moving in a positive direction. I think this is exactly the example that VapeMentors wants to set for other vape shop owners. And you have to understand that you're not just a business owner that's running a retail shop. You're a beacon of hope for the community. You are representing the entire industry as a whole, and you have to be doing this stuff proactively, just like Stewart is.
Hey, Jess, one thing before you go.
Yeah.
If you guys do nothing else, tomorrow, call the superintendent of your school and turn them on to FlySense. Tell them, I know you have a vaping problem in your school. There's a product out there that detects vapes and bullying, elevated sounds, in whatever room they put it in. Do yourself a favor. Call up the superintendent, say, listen, I own a vape shop. I know you guys have issues with vaping. Go to this company, buy these units. It's called FlySense, 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 and tell them, give them the tip, and you're going to be the winner. You are going to be, that's being proactive. You are going to be the winner, and you're going to benefit from that. You're going to go from being the asshole in the community and the dick and the bastard to, look, these guys are working with me. And the fact that you go to your superintendent and say, go get FlySense, and it's going to be done. And then you meet with that superintendent, you tell them what your stringent things are about weak card, you know, having your scanners for IDs, and then all your camera work and everything else that you're going to have in your store. They're going to love you for it, and it is going to send you press like what happened with me.
Absolutely. That's an excellent advice. So everybody follow Stewart's advice, please. Don't wait till they've already decided on this. Talk to your superintendent. Go get FlySense. We'll put links in all of this. And be like Stewart. So that's going to end it. So thanks so much. Stay tuned. I'll show you the commercial that we're talking about that Stewart was featured in, and I'll even try to find the other one that he mentioned. And take this advice to heart and actually go and implement this, guys.
All right. God bless. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.